For us, here at Wrestle Savage, the Attitude Era was the greatest time to be a wrestling fan. The late 90s saw a pop culture boom, bringing us some of the greatest TV shows of all time. It delivered to us incredible gaming consoles. It filled our ears with metal and grunge, and of course, the reason we're all here, the rise of the Attitude Era. A time when everybody seemed to be wearing wrestling t-shirts wherever we went, and "suck it" was a formal greeting amongst teenagers. In this list, we look back on the edgy Attitude Era with our picks for its top 8 defining moments. So flip your boss the bird, chop your crotch, and let's take a trip down memory lane. Number 8. Cockpits and joysticks. In 1998, DX started firing back at World Championship Wrestling, and the Monday Night War reached fever pitch. On April 27th, the DX Army invaded a WCW show in Virginia, and we talked about what happened there in our DX list that's linked below, so do check it out. However, it's little known fact that DX invaded WCW multiple times during the Attitude Era. On May 11th, during Raw, DX invaded the WCW offices, causing police to show up, and later they went to the CNN Center, claiming that Ted Turner and them are friends, and they tried to get a meeting with him. They even used terrible CGI to make it look like they blew up the building. Then, on the May 25th Raw, Triple H took to the skies, making puns about his cockpit and skywriting "WCW sucks" over the Nitro Arena. These stunts helped the WWF win over many fans at the time, and it really helped turn the tides during the Monday Night Wars. Number 7. Hardcore Rules. The WWF Hardcore Championship is widely considered by wrestling historians as the defining title of the Attitude Era. Mr. McMahon awarded Mankind with the Hardcore Championship on November 2nd, 1998 as a present, aka a bribe, to get him not to interfere in a match. The belt itself was rumored to be the Winged Eagle that Mr. Perfect had smashed years earlier in his feud with Hulk Hogan, but duct taped back together with the words Hardcore Champion written in marker on it. However, this rumor was later debunked when the Smash title was sold online by a former WWF employee who had stolen it. Nevertheless, the Hardcore title would define the Attitude Era with its crazy matches and of course the 24/7 rule that came into play whilst being held by Crash Holly. This led to some highly entertaining television, with the title being chased around in playgrounds, airports, and even lost whilst Crash Holly was asleep in one of our favourite comedy moments from the Attitude Era. Number 6. Break the walls down! For those... Oh, I've got to do a take. Sorry, I didn't mean to get carried away. One of the biggest moments during the Attitude Era came when Chris Jericho arrived on Raw on August 9th, 1999 to a massive pop. For weeks, the WWF had been showing the countdown to the millennium, and nobody expected Jericho to be what it was counting down to. At the time, the world was speculating about the Y2K bug, and it was a huge story being pushed by news outlets that computers around the world could malfunction when the year 2000 rolled around. Doomsday preppers feared the worst, but the WWF turned Y2K into Y2J and marketed Chris Jericho's arrival in a genius stroke of booking and perfect timing. Jericho went straight into the main event scene, debuting in a segment and interrupting The Rock, and the fans absolutely lost their minds. Y2J quickly became a huge star within the WWF, and his arrival only strengthened the already strong roster of talent and pushed the WWF to even higher ratings. Number 5. Big Daddy-O did it. In what is now considered a watershed moment, Mrs. Foley's baby boy would win the World Heavyweight Championship on January 4th, 1999 on Raw from The Rock. Prior to this, for most of 1998, World Championship Wrestling had been winning the ratings war for a massive 84 weeks in a row. Mankind had been feuding with Vince McMahon and the corporation for months leading up to this moment, and at the time, WCW was live with Raw being taped. So on air, Tony Schiavone gave away the results of the WWF's main event, saying, "If you were even thinking about changing the channel to our competition, fans, do not. We understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title." Ha! That's gonna put some butts in seats. His bitter comments caused over 500,000 viewers to switch channels to Raw and watch on as Stone Cold Steve Austin blasted The Rock with a chair to help Mankind win his first ever ever World Heavyweight Championship. This defining moment spelled the end for WCW's rating dominance, as the WWF was starting to edge ahead in the mid to late 1998 period. And after this moment, WCW would never, ever beat the WWF in the ratings again. Number 4. The baddest man on the planet. Mike Tyson arrived in the WWF to help hype WrestleMania 14, appearing on the January 9th, 1998 episode of Raw. Tyson was set to be the guest enforcer for the main event of WrestleMania between Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. In a segment on his first appearance, Tyson and Stone Cold clashed in the ring after Steve Austin informed Tyson that he wanted to whoop his ass. The bear had to be pulled apart. Every major sports news channel on earth covered this moment, bringing massive attention to the WWF. Tyson would be featured on Raw for months, and on the March 2nd episode, Shawn Michaels and Tyson exchanged words, leading to it looking like they were about to get into a fight. As HBK went to throw the first punch, he instead ripped off Tyson's shirt, revealing that Mike Tyson had joined D-Generation X. At WrestleMania, Mike Tyson would count the pinfall for Stone Cold Steve Austin on Michaels after the referee was incapacitated, causing HBK to punch Tyson only to be knocked out in return. Mike Tyson's presence in the WWF helped them gain massive viewership from mainstream casual fans at the time, and it is still talked about as an iconic moment from the Attitude Era today. If you're enjoying this list, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, because woo yeah goes a long way, yeah. We'll be replying to the kills come home and dropping elbows on you. Dig it? Number 3. Happily Ever After. The McMahon-Helmsley era shifted gears in the WWF during the Attitude Era and even briefly turned Vince McMahon into a face. It would go on to become one of the longest active storylines in WWE history, and it all started at the November 29th, 1999 episode of Raw, when Test and Stephanie McMahon were in the ring about to be married. Triple H would appear on the Titantron and show a video of himself marrying a drugged up, passed out Stephanie in Vegas beforehand. This led to Triple H and Vince wrestling each other at Armageddon in 1999 in a no-holds-barred match, with the stipulation that if Vince won, Triple H must divorce his daughter. However, Stephanie would save Triple H during this match, leading to him picking up the win, and then the pair would embrace, revealing that Stephanie was behind the plans all along. A heartbroken Vince would leave the WWF, and the McMahon-Helmsley era took over the show for the next few months. Of course, Vince would return and the whole McMahon family would feud, leading into WrestleMania 2000 on the back of the Triple H and Stephanie McMahon storyline. Number 2. The fate of WCW is in my hands. On March 26, 2001, the entire wrestling world was shocked to see Vince McMahon on WCW Nitro Live, announcing that he had just purchased World Championship Wrestling and he now owned his competition. In the storyline, it would be revealed that his son, Shane McMahon, was actually the owner of WCW, leading to the invasion angle that closed out the Attitude Era. However, in reality, WCW was losing so much money that its owners at the time, AOL, wanted to get rid of it desperately. They sold it to Vince for the incredibly low price of just $2.5 million, and shortly afterwards, McMahon purchased the entire WCW videotape library for additional $1.7 million, bringing the final price of WCW's sale to a measly $4.2 million. While the invasion angle was largely seen as a failure due to many top WCW stars not coming over to the WWF at the time and instead choosing to ride out their big fat money contracts and still get paid, this defining moment changed the entire landscape of pro wrestling forever. Number 1. Stunning the Boss. In what has to be the greatest feud in wrestling history, Austin vs. McMahon defined the Attitude Era like nothing else and almost single-handedly kept the WWF alive during the Monday Night Wars. It all started when Stone Cold Steve Austin forfeited his Intercontinental Championship to enter into the 1998 Royal Rumble, saying he had bigger fish to fry. After winning the Rumble, Vince McMahon told the world that he did not want Stone Cold as champion, sparking the feud that would change the wrestling business forever. Vince would even take swings at Austin after Mike Tyson and Stone Cold had been pulled apart leading into WrestleMania. And after winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 14th on the March 30th, 1998 episode of Raw, Austin would be presented with a brand new title belt, seeing Austin throw the Winged Eagle title down at Vince's feet. McMahon tried to convince Austin that he cared about him and that they could work together, but Austin wanted none of that bullshit and he gave Vince a stunner. Vince had Austin arrested for this, and the next week on Raw, Stone Cold played a trick on the boss, acting like he had changed his mind. He came to the ring in a suit and he posed for photos with Vince before ripping his suit off and low-blowing Vince McMahon with a mighty sack whack and then storming off. This would be the last straw, causing Vince to vow to get that title off of Stone Cold by any means necessary. The feud would continue long into the year 2000, and if you would like to see more Stone Cold Steve Austin moments, don't forget to check out our top 8 Stone Cold moments in the video linked in the description below.